let's raise the big questions then on a day of another major railway accident. Who will be held accountable? Is the Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnaw's resignation demand that the opposition is making justified? Is Indian Railways being pushed to the limit? Does railway safety need top priority? Joining me now, Sudhanshu Mani. He's the creator of Train 18 Vande Bharat Express. Lalit Chandra Trivedi, former General Manager, Railway Chairman, Rail Division India. Pushpavana Siva Subramaniam is Railway Consumer Expert, Secretary at Consumer Protection Council. Shama Mohammed, National Spokesperson, Congress. Raghav Avasthi, Advocate and Analyst, who's been advocating a BJP perspective in the past. I appreciate all of you joining us here on the show today. Let me first get the politics out of the way, because Shama Mohammed, I see even before 24 hours has elapsed, the Congress is demanding the resignation, or several Congress leaders are demanding the resignation of the Railway Minister. Is anything going to be sorted by the Railway Minister resigning?
Hi, Rajdeep. First and foremost, why is there no BJP representative today on your show? I mean, there is not a national spokesperson.
The BJP has refused to. The BJP has refused to appear on the railway accident.
That's why. Why? Because they know the reason they have the fault on their side, and Ashwini Vaishnaw continues to be the railway minister. Now, let's go back to where he has been the railway minister. We have seen Balasore last year, 2023, where nearly 216 people died and more than 1,000 were injured. We saw the Punjab train accident now in West Bengal and also in Andhra. So this arises, Rajdeep, is when somebody does not resign or somebody is not accountable, what happens to a minister or anybody in the party? They continue to keep doing what they have to do. They're not bothered to make corrective steps to the Kavach system. He has only put it in 68,000 kilometers. In this year, in February, he said that we have put it for 1,438 kilometers. My question today is, if he was held accountable last year, they know they're going to lose their job. They'll do corrective steps. When they know that they're not going to lose their job, they can continue to do what they do, then they're not going to do corrective steps. They'll continue this.
May I just add the point, though, that between 2004 and 14, there were railway accidents. It's not as if the Lalu Prasads resigned at that time. It's not as if the Mamata Banerjees resigned at that time. So it's not as if railway ministers, barring the great Lal Bahadur Shastri, have had a tradition of resigning when there is an accident. I remember Nitish Kumar had offered to resign also, of course, and when he was in the Vajpayee government. But by and large, railway ministers have been reluctant to resign when there is a rail accident.
Rajdeep, I can only speak about the Congress party. And I can say that when Pawan Bansal, as a railway minister, had an allegation of corruption, they had asked him to resign.
That was a corruption allegation, not a railway accident, ma'am. You're confusing the issue. That was a
I know that. What I'm trying to tell you is, Rajdeep, a very important point. All over the world, whenever there is some sort of accident or issues, people or ministers have to resign because he's accountable. Why hasn't he done anything after nearly 1 year of the Odisha train accident where we lost so many lives? And if you have the Kavach system, what does it do? It tells the pilot that if he misses a signal, it immediately puts the brake and it prevents the collision which we saw today and which we saw last year in Odisha. So the Kavach system, which we have asked for a long time to be installed, is not installed. They have recently said, as I mentioned, out of the 68,000 kilometers, it's only there for 1,438 kilometers and for 139 locomotives. Now, that is less. They keep boasting about Ashwini Vaishnaw and the Rail Ministry has made this new train, Vande Bharat. But what about the accidents? That is more important.
Okay.
How do we save people? People cannot die of such negligence.
Ma'am, you made your point. Ma'am, you made your point. Raghav Avasthi respond. On the day of the railway accident, guess what happens? Ashwini Vaishnaw, who's not just railway minister, but is also IT minister of this country, is also INB minister, is now told that you have to be co-in charge for the Maharashtra Assembly elections as well. It's almost as if the BJP believes that Ashwini Vaishnaw can perform these multiple roles. Surely we need a full-time railway minister focusing on the railways rather than asking the railway minister to handle 3 different ministries as well as handle elections. Doesn't this show a certain lack of accountability?
Not at all, Rajdeep ji. I would first of all like to say that if it comes to accountability, then there is one person in India who's run 3 absolute train wrecks of general election campaigns, and he is still not resigned, and he's being, I think, projected as the next Prime Minister in 2029. But leaving that aside, I think if we look at the statistics between 2014 and 2024, and you compare that to what happened between 2004 and 14, there is absolutely no denying that the number of accidents as well as the number of deaths has gone down. Nobody is saying that the number of accidents has gone up. Having said that, even one accident is too many. Unless there is a thorough investigation, we will not be able to find out as to what the causes are of the accident and whether or not the blame can be,
But
or whether or
even a,
not
even a year after Balasore, which was an even more tragic accident, we still do not have clarity on exactly what happened. There were all kinds of theories put out, including sabotage. There were those who brought in a Naxal angle. The truth of the matter is, accountability is needed. Mr. Ashwini Vaishnaw is in an important ministry. He's being given 2 other ministries and being asked to handle elections. Surely at some stage, you have to have specialists who only focus on a particular job. The feeling is he's being overburdened.
had that been the case, like I think you were just showing some statistics on the right side of the screen, it's very clear that the total number of these tragic incidents has actually been going down over the last 10 years. So I don't, 10 years or even the last 5 years for that matter. So I don't see why the minister has to be singled out. If anything, the minister has to be commended, or at least some credit has to go to the ministry, because the ministry has ensured that the checkered record that the Indian Railways had till now when the Congress was in power is actually being improved. Having said that, even I'll repeat what I said earlier, one accident is too many. And although train accidents take place all across the world, we need to ensure that we get to zero. There has to be zero tolerance for such
Well,
accidents.
there is clearly no zero accidents at the moment. That's certainly not the case. I'm putting on the left-hand side year-wise casualties by train rail accidents in India, and as you see, there is certainly far from there being zero accidents. There are serious rail safety issues that remain. Sudhanshu Mani, to bring you in as someone who was a creator of Train 18 Vande Bharat Express, has there been too much of focus on getting these high-speed trains in place rather than looking at the primary issue of railway safety? Do you believe that railway safety is a major challenge even today?
So there are 2 things. One is resources, which is not a problem because central government is pumping in so much money in railways, unprecedented, so funds are not a problem. Question of focus. Yes, I agree. More focus is required on safety and track upgradation, areas which have no optics. You know, you don't take selfies with Kavach, you don't take selfies with track upgradation. So you require more focus. I'm not against bullet train or Vande Bharat at all. Vande Bharat is my baby. Definitely that is needed. But we need much more focus on the tools which have become available now to move towards accident-free railways, tools which were not available earlier, artificial intelligence and Kavach. These are 2 examples. Now, Kavach in this case very clearly would have prevented the accident. The goods train at the red signal would have been stopped by Kavach, even if the driver tried to move on. And having stopped after 1 minute, if it had started, Kavach would not have allowed it to pick up speed. That's the power of Kavach, a comprehensive signaling system. But the rollout has been very slow, as another panelist pointed out. We are still stuck at 1,400 kilometers. To my mind, if it is in focus, we can do 3,000 to 4,000 kilometers per year. Or maybe if we really do well, 5,000 kilometers per year. So major trunk routes can be covered in 5 years. But going by the record, we are moving so slow. This is the time to wake up and put all the focus on things like track upgradation, things like Kavach, things like use of artificial intelligence to generate meaningful alerts, to bring in a bring in a culture, sensitizing people through actual data of near misses, which is, it's mammoth data which is available, digital data in stations and trains. It is not being put together. It is not being collated. Artificial intelligence can do that and can be a powerful tool for minimizing accidents.
You know, Lalit Chandra Trivedi, you heard from Mr. Mani about the Kavach system, the anti-collision Kavach system. It was brought in on, announcement was made on 23rd March 2022. There's a sense that it hasn't progressed fast enough. Is that a genuine concern, as Mr. Mani expresses? That is what we need to focus on. You don't get selfies when you perhaps put a Kavach system in place. You get it when every time there is a new Vande Bharat Express being flagged. Would you concede that this should have been the focus?
Unfortunately, Rajdeep, I was chief safety officer of this zone in way back in 2004, and this zone and this section was the first on Indian Railways to be provided with anti-collision system. The name Kavach came later on, and when I signed off as chief safety officer in 2006, we had completed the anti-collision coverage by a company called Carnex, and this was functional. And we thought that the same thing will be replicated, but the whole project was abandoned. In fact, because of that, the worst accident in the history of rail traffic, which happened a few kilometers away from this place when Mr. Nitish Kumar resigned. And that time it was decided that the Northeast Frontier Railway, to which this station belongs, will be the first. And fortunately, it was such a coincidence that I was the chief safety officer when this system was implemented, but somehow it went into disuse.
No, so why? What is the reason why we are making these grand announcements? I remember in 2022 when the announcement was made on Kavach, the thing was that this was going to be prioritized and this was going to be spread across the country. As Mr. Mani is saying, it's been all too slow.
Yeah, it's too slow, and the number of players who can execute this job, the number of contracts which have been awarded, in fact the specification, the technical specification for this cover system have been perpetual mode of review. So and the parties who are involved, they're too few and too slow. And two, three things apart from this also I would like to point out. If you see the accident, the casualties figure particularly would have been much less had the train Kanchanjunga been the LHB Express, LHB coaches. The way the ICF coach has climbed over the locomotive, this anti-climbing feature is missing in the ICF old coach type of design. This is a long train. It starts from Agartala to Sialdah. So had there been LHB coaches in the train formation, which is normally the norm, or for that matter Vande Bharat type coaches, the tendency of coaches to climb over one another would not have been there.
Okay, let me bring in Pushpananam Shivasubramaniam at this moment. You are a consumer expert, secretary at the Consumer Protection Council. Is there a sense that railway passengers get the short shrift, that there is so much of talk about the new trains that have been brought in, high-speed trains, that at times that critical issue of safety, which is critical to consumers, in particular railway passengers, is ignored? And what really can passengers do?
Yeah, it is very tragic that this should have happened. But this is not the first time that the train is ramming into another stationary train. It was a triple train accident in Odisha, Balasore, happened the same way. In 2018, it rammed into a school bus. So this is easily anticipated. But why is it happening again and again? It has become deja vu for the television viewers to see a picture of one bogie over the roof of another bogie. It's because of total lack of accountability in railways. I don't want Mr. Ashwini Vaishnaw to resign now. I'll give him 8 months. If he's not able to reform, then he should resign after 8 months.
Why 8 months? No, what is so sacrosanct about 8 months? Remember, Balasore happened a year ago. We are now exactly a year later having similar scenes to what we saw in Balasore. What difference will 8 months make?
Yeah, I will tell you, the reforms that are badly needed, I have given him time for 8 months. I am very generous here. Number one, there must be a separate railway budget to ensure transparency and accountability. And number two, one of the most inefficient PSUs is our railways. Do you know the operating ratio is 98%, sometimes 101%? Can Mr. Mani deny it? Because of vice-like grip of the bureaucrats.
Let Mr. Mani respond. Mr. Mani, are we being overly harsh on the railways? Are we being overly harsh on the minister? Or when such an accident takes place, the minister, somewhere the buck has to stop with him?
The question, as you also said, whether the railway minister should resign or not is very personal, one's own morals. Only two instances are known, as you said, Lal Bahadur Shastri and Nitish Kumar and none other. So I'll not go into that question. But yes, accountability of management, not minister alone, is definitely called for. Like Balasore, you know, CBI case, some lower level staff have been arrested and all that. But at management level, because this was something which was happening in this case also, if we find out, and it's quite likely that we'll find out that such violation by trains was taking place every week or maybe every day, I don't know. That data is available. If you do find out, just by punishing some lower level staff who are in any case no more, would not do, the buck has to stop at top management, whichever level you take it to, and it has to happen, which is very rare in railway accident. You don't see accountability at management level. It has to happen.
Lalit Chandra Trivedi, accountability at management level. There's no point, after every railway accident, the finger points at some lineman, someone lower down in the chain, not at the top management. Should the top management, whether it's the minister or those at the top level, the people who sort of man the railway board, should they be held accountable? Where does accountability start?
The way the CRS inquiries are conducted, the Commissioner of Railway Safety will conduct inquiry into this case also. Unfortunately, you see n number of reports by Commissioners of Railway Safety. They point fingers, and normally we are guided by the reports of these Commissioners of Safety, and they normally fix responsibility at very low level.
So they will protect their own. The management protects its own is the charge which is made often.
Yeah, and the thing is that the basic root cause analysis which led to this, like one of the reasons which I have been told from the field level is that the new IRMS system, Indian Railway Management Service, which earlier we used to have two streams of induction. Engineers were inducted through engineering services exams, and other general management people used to be recruited through civil services exams. Now they have made a combined everything and brought, so there is induction of engineers for last 5-6 years into the railways has not taken place.
That is a huge issue of staff shortage, of existing posts not being filled. Shama Mohammed, shouldn't the focus be on that? Shouldn't the focus be on systems rather than the individual? That's the point I made to you at the outset. The Congress seems to be focusing at the moment on the individual Ashwini Vaishnaw, not on the systems which are terribly flawed and which are, some would say, a legacy issue as well.
Yes, it is on the system.
Rajdeep.
Yes, Shama Mohammed.
No, because I'm hearing somebody else speak.
Yeah, go ahead.
What I'm saying is that the system has to be only fixed when there is something called accountability. After 2014, there is no accountability. You remember that even Mishra Teni, the Minister of State for Home, did not resign when his own son was involved in the murder of the farmers. So there is no accountability. Nobody resigns in this government. Now, if he resigns, Ashwini Vaishnaw resigns, then the systems can be changed. What is the point if the minister was in charge? So why is he in charge then? Maybe the PMO is in charge. If he is in charge, then he has to take responsibility. I want to know who is responsible. Last year, we lost around 230 people, many innocent lives. We're losing again today 15 people, many more injured. I'm worried about those lives which are lost. We don't get them back, Rajdeep. And that's because we don't have the Kavach system. We don't have enough employees. So who takes responsibility? Somebody has to be accountable. So all over the world in democracies, whenever there are accidents continuously, somebody is responsible and the minister has to resign. Unless he resigns, there is no accountability. For democracy, accountability is very important. In Indian democracy, after 2014, there is no accountability. Once he resigns, like you mentioned, he's got 3 ministries. He's put in charge of Maharashtra. How's the man? He's not even going to do anything about it because he knows Modi is not going to remove him.
Raghav Avasthi, there's a point in what Shama Mohammed says. This, refusal to accept accountability. Fine words are enough. Everyone wants a selfie when there is a new Vande Bharat Express which is launched. Nobody wants to take responsibility, accountability when there is a railway accident.
I will tell you why there is no accountability.
Empirically verifiable.
It is not because of this.
Sir, can I
It has
speak?
been there since 2000.
Yes.
The main reason is this. Mr.
It's empirically verifiable.
Have you ever heard? Let me complete this sentence.
Yes, go ahead. Complete your sentence.
Have you ever heard of an organization? Have you ever heard of an organization where all the members of the board are its own employees? Member traffic, member electrical, member mechanical. Remember, Manoj Kumar paid 3 crores, offered to pay another 8 if he was made member electrical. Bansal has to resign.
I take your point. You made that point strongly. Raghav Avasthi, respond as a final word. The fact is somewhere.
Another important thing is.
Sir, let him respond now.
Safety.
Raghav, very quickly.
Ultimately, Rajdeep ji, it's empirically verifiable that the number of accidents as well as casualties has gone down since the BJP came to power in 2014. I think the graphics that you just displayed would clearly underline that fact. Having said that, the Congress party are nobody to teach anybody about accountability. They have one leader who has been in power, who has been in charge for the last 3 elections, and despite losing 3 general elections, he is not resigned. So clearly, if these people want the country and the party to have,
we are talking here about ministerial responsibility and accountability. Ministerial responsibility and accountability must surely start somewhere. It cannot be every time that the government says, no, our railway safety today will throw up some numbers to say it's better than it was in the previous 10 years. That's not enough. Public needs to see concrete accountability of those who take decisions in the railways. They could be in the railway board, they could be at the ministerial level. Either way, this is another wake-up call. There was a wake-up call last year in June in Balasore. Now there's been a wake-up call this year here in Siliguru. The railways needs to get its act together. And clearly, therefore, the public out there is asking, whose jawabdehi is this? Who's accountable for these when things go wrong, if you're going to take the credit when things go right? That's all that we have time for in this special debate on what happened here in Siliguru.